Hello, hello. I'm so pleased to have all of you join us today. I have my friend Shonda Buchanan coming on as our conversation partner. Thank you, Shonda.
Hello, hello.
Thank you.
I'm so pleased to have all of you join us today.
All right, sorry for my...
I have my friend Shonda.
All right, sorry, we had double from the YouTube live. Now the tech issues are done. All right, how are you?
I'm doing wonderfully. How are you? Congratulations on this book launch. It's incredible on everything.
Thank you. I'm so glad to have people joining us on the Zoom side of things. And if you have questions or comments, you can also pop it in the YouTube live. So Shonda, tell us a little bit about yourself and kick us off.
Yes, so I am a Los Angeles-based poet. I write and live on Tonga Chumash land, acknowledging the first peoples of these lands, along with the Tule River Indians, Pachanga. There are a lot of natives in these lands here, different nations. So I have a couple of books of poetry out. I've been writing since I was 9, writing poetry since I was 9. Good poetry, maybe about 26 is when I started writing good poetry. Then I have a book of a memoir out as well. And I think I told you that my collection of Nina Simone poetry was picked up by a press, by Rise Press. So that hopefully will be coming out next year. The Lost Songs of Nina Simone. I've just been involved in reading, writing poetry, teaching workshops for the last 30 years. That's so crazy just to think about how long I've been doing this. In LA, in Virginia, in New York. In Virginia, I was on the Poetry Society of Virginia's board. Here in Los Angeles, I'm the board president of Beyond Baroque Literary Arts Center, which is in Venice, and we're one of the oldest institutions, literary arts institutions in LA, founded in 1968. We just had our major gala, which you came to. And I'm also a product of the Anansi Writers Workshop in Leimert Park, at the World Stage in Leimert Park. But I'm so connected to so many amazing, amazing poets who have spent their lives just eking out, you know, whatever it is they needed to talk about: love, war, racism, identity, gender issues. You know, they've been writing about this for so long. So I'm so grateful to have an amazing community of writers and to have you, Jen, among that community. So thank you. Oh, yes. And also, can I introduce, say that we're both CAC fellows?
Yes, we're California Arts Council fellows this year.
Yes, which is exciting. I want to know what your project was. I don't think I've ever asked you about that.
I am part of my efforts is to expand BIPOC visibility, to bring people of color more amplified to the forefront. So I've been leading Palabras Literary Salon for the last year. And through that is how I first met you in person. I had read so much about you.
That is so cool. Yeah, and I want to read your bio too, but I guess, should I say what my project is for the California Arts Council?
We're a little short on time.
Oh, short on time. Let me read your bio. Let me go ahead and let me introduce you. Let me read your bio properly. This is lovely. Jen Cheng is the author of Braided Spaces, the West Hollywood Poet Laureate 2023-2026. Congratulations. A 2023 California Arts Council Fellow and a multidisciplinary storyteller who amplifies underrepresented voices. Jen is the founder of Palabras Literary Salon, celebrating BIPOC poets and writers. Jen blends East-West cultural influences in a new form, Feng Shui Poetry. I'm so excited to hear more about that. With stories for tween audiences, mystery detective fans, and queer love, Jen is a cross-pollinator, a true cross-pollinator. And you can find her on Twitter and Instagram at jencvoice, or check out her website, which is jencvoice.com. So I'm excited to hear poems from from your book, Braided Spaces, which one would you like to read first?
Great. So I'm gonna go ahead and share screen for a little bit. I am a product of East-West influences. So the book is divided into 5 parts of the 5 elements from Feng Shui. And you can read more about it when you open the book. But just as a brief orientation for today's quick and short 30-minute reading, I wanted to share with our friends here, the 5 elements. They are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And so when you think of fire, you think of maybe, volcanoes. These are Feng Shui tiles I made originally for the Santa Monica's Artist Alley. I have a mural there, and I've produced them into greeting cards, and now I do them as an event entertainer to help people guide what they need more or less of, or how to manage their career choices or other decisions. So depending on what card you pick, sometimes that's the element that you want to see your life or the poem through. So this is the fire card. This fire represents fame and passion. The earth card is so that you can be more grounded, maybe self-care, partnerships. That could be business or romantic relationships. And then the metal card, I picked a very colorful metal, but semiconductor chips, mechanics, wiring, it's wiring, the creation of passing of knowledge. And then water, we have a lot of mythologies that talk about water, like La Llorona, or water is flow, flow, but
Emotions,
emotions,
yeah.
and career. You want your career to have flow. And then there's wood, which wood can be not just trees, but this is the color of tulips. And tulips and flowers, all that could be what you feel is like growing, upward growing. So if you're growing your family, or you're referring to, when I refer to my grandma, I think of her being the roots of the family, then those are the 5 elements. So I'll just get to it.
Can I ask a question before you get to it? So
Yeah.
I know your influence is East-West, but I'm really curious about like that defining moment that when you said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. Like, this is how I'm going to portray it. I'm curious about the defining aha moment.
Yeah, I have been writing poetry as my focus in the last 4 years, and I really enjoy writing poetry for people as a typewriter poet. And I realized I was writing manifest poems for some people, as they're like, oh, I'm struggling with my career, where to move. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of providing wellness support anyway, and I might as well incorporate my my Buddhist Feng Shui upbringing into it, because it's there already. And then when people said, do you have visual art that represents your poetry? And I was like, I guess I will. And that's when I made the visual art that produced those play tiles. And then I saw the call for murals. I was like, how perfect would it be? And it's now by the 3rd Street Promenade alleyway called the Artist Alley. And it was this year that I was like, well, other poets have different branding. And I was like, how can I differentiate myself? And I was like, I do this anyway. So it was in April when I was like, let's do this. April's also my birthday month, so it's kind of perfect.
Thank you for that. Thank you for telling me the background. I love that.
I'm glad you asked that, because I just kind of like, oh yeah, it's just natural. My whole life I've been negotiating being Chinese American and all that. And I'm wearing red today because, here's hoping that this book has fame. So I'm giving the well wishes to the book.
That's wonderful. Yeah, thank you for answering that. I love that you're a poet, you're an artist, and a musician. I love all of that.
Yeah, I'm a multidisciplinary artist, so that is what happens. The projects find me. I don't know that I'm trying to flow with what comes to me as a gift. So this is the first poem, Fire, from the Fire section. And it was inspired actually by one of our friends, Lynn Thompson, when I saw her at a Glendale Poet Laureate workshop led by Rafi, who's our current Glendale Poet Laureate. And I'm so thrilled he's going to be part of my in-person book launch on Thursday. So if you're in LA, come to Chinatown, to the bookstore tomorrow today, where Rafi will be my conversation partner and also doing his music. He's also a multidisciplinary type. A color for fire would be oranges and reds. And so when you need a little fire energy in your life, go for the orange citrus and turn on the little twinkly lights or add some candles to that area of your room. So here we are. The ultimate fire animal is dragons. Tell me about dragons. As it happens, I have never tired of dragons. The myths, our fascinations, our fears. Restaurants with dragons in the logo, we know that's where you can reliably get good food. We are all influenced, whether or not you've watched the movie The Way of the Dragon. So I'll breathe into the fire and not worry that they try to insult me with labels of dragon lady meant to box me in. I take the flight, the mystery, the powerful red hues to paint and write new scrolls and talk story.
Beautiful. I love it. Oh, I love how you took the stereotype and you inverted it. You just said, no, I'll be exactly who I'm supposed to be. That's beautiful.
And that's a fun poem. I got to play into the shape of a dragon. And so there's 2 concrete poems in there, and I'll be sharing both of them today.
Okay.
The next one is Earth. And I have studied improv, and I'm actually part of the Asian American group called Tofu Improv. And I really love looking at things from different points of view. I write screenplays and fiction. So in Earth, we'll bless this poem with some sand. I'm writing it from the inspiration of visual arts. I love visual arts and I love Magritte. And so I want to share with you the Wikipedia page that inspired this poem. In fact, this image, The Treachery of Images, is at LACMA, which is the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. So I did 2 things with this poem. I wrote it in the shape of a pipe, and I took words from this Wikipedia page and helped me meditate and muse on how I see patriarchy. So patriarchy is a thing, right?
The pipe is a perfect metaphor.
Right?
Patriarchy, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like we had to share this because the poem doesn't quite pop off the page besides the shape, because if you don't understand French, it might kind of throw you off. So this is what the poem looks like. I'm trying to share.
Je parle français un peu, un petit peu.
Oh, bien,
J'ai
bien.
étudié le français à l'école longtemps.
Fantastic. So I don't have the perfect French accent, but here we are. I'm speaking it from the character of a French femme intellectual who is disgusted at the dumb Americans and patriarchy. Ceci n'est pas un poème. Hemingway with the pipe is the image of an auteur. That was a reason to choose mojitos as my masculine drink, so that a femme at a bar among straight men could get respect. The mental treachery female makes daily to get a crack at a game among liars, wrestle with the boys on their turf, learn the debate strategies to smoke them defenseless with wits. So don't piny girl to one hall of the femme fatale. That's a tragedy. That only sexualized power could be a raison d'être. To be heroes with eyes closed, appeal to a basic instinct with a parfum de je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi. Great impersonation of a French person who's disgusted with patriarchy. And men. What did you say? Something ridiculous, but I like so ce n'est pas, this is not a poem.
Yes.
The title, this is not a poem.
I mean, it's ironic. Is it a rant? Is it a poem? I don't know. You decide.
Yeah, no. But it's interesting when you get to France and you read that. I would like to hear what a French person says. They're like, you're spot on.
No, I mean, really, it's my point of view. I'm just putting on the French lady.
The air. That was lovely.
So the next poem is from the metal section, right? Metal has a way of, you know, I think of it as like my semiconductors. My wiring of my brain was very informed by my first love of piano, and it's an homage to my piano teachers. So I found a angelic tuning fork, and I'll bless this poem here with a little clearing. I hope you can hear some of that. Letting go of the stress and remembering the good music and memories. So this is part one of my poem, Mentors with the Letter M. Nina showed me how to play music emotionally with her passionate but out of tune humming that moaned as she coaxed the music from her other grand piano and commanded me to copy what I had just heard. She was the first to teach me how to use my body, how to be physical with another person intimately, as she taught me to wrap my little fingers to dance on top of her wrinkled hands, to imitate how she played. She ruined me for the light keys of easier to play Yamahas and got me to love the thick sounds of the complex Bosendorfers and Steinways. Decades later, I feel for that heavy action, heavy hammer action now when I use a typewriter. Light touch keys get jammed with my strong and fast piano fingers. She stopped me from straining my hands too small to sustain repeated stretched octaves by introducing me to the Alexander technique to breathe better and relax between every effort. She affectionately sprinkled Yiddish words into her praise, smothered my stiff, awkward Chinese body into her passionate Russian Jew hugs, pushing my too short head into her ample bosom, and transferred even more love with rugula and baklava she put out at recitals. My studies were interrupted too early by my mother's whims, and I couldn't find a way to sneak out to my beloved teacher. It's too late to find her now. My best homage is to learn the piece she wanted me to conquer, the piano concerto known as the Rock 3.
Wow, that's beautiful. What a wonderful tribute to your teacher as well. And the relationship. Oh my gosh, how old were you when you were taking lessons with her?
I was in my teens, yeah,
Okay.
and my lessons got cut off when I was 16. So,
Okay.
I mean, I kept playing piano, but you know, it's not the same to have a mentor see you weekly.
Right. Just imagine how they're transferring their love of the love of their art to the next person, and now you are transferring your love of classical music to your students as well.
Yeah, I mean, that just harkens to how important our teachers are. So I thank all the teachers and mentors who came before me.
Yes, absolutely. I love that poem. Thank you for sharing that.
And I know you're a teacher too, so.
Yes, I am. I teach at LMU, Loyola Marymount University, and Alma College in Alma, Michigan. I've been teaching for 23 plus years. Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're still, when you teach that long, you're in the trenches, like you love it, So, but I love the language. Oh, I love that, to breathe better and relax between every effort. That's someone put that, Aisha put that for a line from your poem that she loves. She put that in the chat.
Yeah, not just for music, but for everything we do, right? Try to relax between every effort.
Breathe, yes, breathe, yes. Oh, I love it. I love it.
The next poem is from Water, the Water section. And Water is, I don't know, I was very emotional as a college kid. And I was really in mourning about like, what is the purpose of my life? And so we'll bless this poem with a little Palo Santo water spray. And,
I'm imagining I'm smelling it. Yes.
So this poem is titled Job Requirements, Fishnets or Pantyhose. In that split second, the splinter end of the desk snagged my pantyhose, decided the course of my young adult life. It was only 10 a.m. and the second of 5 interviews to win a job offer with golden handcuffs, so I could cash in on my economics degree. But the rip without the immediate defense of clear nail polish was only going to grow into an embarrassing tear that kept running for the rest of the day. The well-meaning classmates who primed me for this rat race told me the gray-haired partners at the big bank had conservative standards, that women could not wear pantsuits because pantsuits were too liberal. Those guys could never understand this extra burden of wardrobe anxiety. As a dancer, it was easier for me to wear fishnets. Dance skin made them extra durable, heavyweight, and if they snagged, the rip just added to the sexy look. As a halfway decent second violinist who could dance and wear a wig, I was recruited to play for a corporate band with travel perks to a castle in Quebec City and a beachfront hotel in Kauai. I broke down crying to my philosophy professor over my feminist angst over these choices, band or bank. The difference of one consonant. What are my roles after being a college student, but to be objectified as a sexy siren or to fit in a box as a dutiful capitalist? The queer professor shook her head with no advice while standing in her comfortable shoes. Rousseau nor anything else in my books would help me. The splinter made the decision, since I couldn't wipe the worry about the pantyhose off my face or remember enough from the sports page to bond with the bank bros. Casey and the Sunshine Band's medley gave me long whole notes to shake my booty, to play for the bankers at night, or tech bros celebrating the Star Wars prequel. I found a day job crunching census data at a think tank, the closest thing to staying in college, and an office with a loose dress code, free from pantyhose. At dark, I changed into a wig, tiny short shorts, and fishnets that didn't tear for a road more traveled.
Wow, that's an incredible poem. The fishnet stockings. I have to ask, is this a persona poem or is this a commentary? Like, what is this? What kind of poem is this? This is amazing.
I actually experienced this and I was like, this fishnets or pantyhose concept was supposed to be a short story, but it fell out as a poem. And I read it in the voice of a newscaster because I didn't know what to do as a young 20-something, right? And so the newscaster voice kind of helps, encapsulate the drama that happened.
No, I love the delivery as well, because it does. And there is this sense of, it's almost like the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett news about their marriage has been over for 6 years or something. And so they're doing spoofs on the fact that it's news when it's like, why is it news to everyone else? So, but I love that you have the sense of the choice between fishnet stockings, or the choice between a different representation of you as a woman or an artist. Like, it's always there. It's not news. But to read it in the newscaster's voice gives us that element or that sense of, I'm giving you some information that's been around a long time. So anyway, I love that poem. Thank you for reading it. Thank you for writing it. And thank you for reading it.
And thank you for noticing that, the contextualization. That's wonderful. This section is from Wood, and flowers and trees can represent wood. I wrote it from a character, so I can't be so mad at grandma's dramas. I mean, family drama can just be so much intergenerational trauma, but I really encourage and, really advocate for healing and trying to, live your own life. Don't let that old stuff get to you. And I wrote it in the form of an abecedarian, getting the lines to start with the letters that cover all the alphabet. And I'm especially proud of the word I found for the letter X, being a child of immigrants. and hint, you'll see the X word. And this is dedicated to my Bridgerton fans who might know what Lady Whistledown's British accent might sound like. I'll do my best. Okay. I am not an expert at British accents, but here we are. It's a fun twist on looking at family drama. Okay. Bridgerton's narrator spills the tea about my grandma. Grandma dearly departed with a grand hurrah, hailing respect instead of grief. In turn, her memorial party was a dream, a birthday celebration, as she just died gracefully of heart failure in her sleep. Kind of a quiet exit, but so obvious as her last symphony. Manipulation was her modus operandi, so none of her surviving 7 children could say no to showing up. Over all the years of plots she orchestrated to stoke personality struggles with believable lies as the drama queen and the mother mastermind of recurring rivalries between siblings. You needed the latest headlines to know who was mad at whom in this telenovela that could outshrink other families under the table. Air violins would play to whine about one sister's injustice or how xenophobia ruined a brother's attempt at a white-collar career. Yarn skeins were what she left behind with a zoetic puzzle of where she might have hidden her jewelry. Accumulated hiding places were ways to anchor her bravery through war, occupation, and poverty as she silently sang her survival song, conducting her power even from beyond. Her heirs cleaned her home, dug through every jacket, looking for secret pockets, ever reminded how this frail elder knew how to perform her finale.
Wow. I love that. I love that. So, okay, tell us the what's the backstory of that poem? That's a wonderful poem. I love it. And I know we have 4 minutes left. So if there's anything you want to say, we got to make sure we say it.
So she was not a socialite. I read this at a reading recently, and my friend said, was she a socialite? I'm like, no, she was poor. She raised 8 children in a 2-bedroom government tenement project. And in another life, she should have been a character on Shonda Rhimes' series, Bridgerton.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, well, this is a way to honor grandma and all her drama queenness.
Oh my gosh, I love that. She would be so honored. She would be so honored, especially with the inflection. And maybe it's a reverse on the Boxer Rebellion, you know. So just in terms of like the, you know, speaking a little bit maybe to colonization, but I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I mean, we were Hong Kong British subjects, so yes.
Okay.
There is.
So that illusion was okay. It was okay to make it. Okay.
For all of my readers, when you see double entendres or multiple layers inside a poem, yes, you're right.
Okay, good.
Because I have Scorpio moon in my astrology chart, and nothing is simple in my poems.
I love that. No, and I love the representation of all the elements, right? And it feels, Carla said, she said, your poems, that what you give to people, the manifestations are wonderful. And I love that we now get to walk with the Feng Shui poetry, which is kind of, you know, looking at how can you reorganize your life in order for it to be better with language or around beauty or whatever your choices are. So I really love that.
Yeah, I'm looking at, will you, Shonda, look in the Zoom chats? And Kate is our tech person today. Thank you, Kate. If you can chime in and tell us some of the comments from our Zoom chats. I see some comments from the YouTube live. I see Frankie says, I love how sensual each of these works are, both in words and the way you're framing them with objects and actions. The metaphor of the fishnets versus pantyhose is palpable. What a way to comment on the dichotomy of patriarchal perception. I have a comment from Kelly, my sister. Thank you for joining. Surreal and yet ironic. And then I have a comment from my friend in New York who says, Jen is much more than art and poetry and music. Jen is a miracle worker and a healer and a beautiful human. Oh, I feel silly reading my own compliments.
Amazing. Oh my God, that's really beautiful. That goes on the back of the book or that goes someplace. Well, why don't you tell people where they can find your book and when your next reading is happening, you know, is occurring?
Oh yes, everything for my updated events forever and ever, like this month and next year, you can find on my Linktree, Linktree linktr.ee, and then / jencvoice, or you can find me on social media, jencvoice. My next in-person reading is this Thursday in LA's Chinatown. I specifically chose a bookstore in Chinatown because Chinatown was so meaningful to me growing up. Every weekend we went grocery shopping in Chinatown. It is in the book. I do some mentions of Chinatown. What was your other question, Shonda?
So where will it happen on Thursday?
Oh,
Which bookstore?
Tomorrow Today is a small bookstore right in the historic plaza.
Okay.
And
Tomorrow Today.
Yeah, and I know it's not the day tomorrow, but it is the bookstore called Tomorrow Today. I have artist laureate from Culver City, Katie Krantz, joining to do butterfly monoprints. So I've always wanted immersive, multi-dimensional events. So she's providing art making, and everybody please come make your butterfly art, and we're going to hang it inside the bookstore as our souvenir after the reading. That's to celebrate my poem 10,000 Butterflies, which is an anchor poem in my book. It was written for grand performances. It ties, survival and cultural cleansing, surviving all that for all the different ethnic groups, and being queer or an intersectionality. And then for buying the book, you can go to my website, jencvoice.com/poetry. Independent publishing is the only way you can get a book out in less than 5 months. So
basically, yes.
Please support independent artists, and when you can, buy books directly from the authors.
Yes.
Shonda, there's some comments from Asa and Lisbeth. Would you like to read those?
Let's see. I'm gonna open up that to chat. Asa said, accumulated hiding places, so relatable. And then I see, Carla said, love the accent. This is a beautiful way to honor her. And then Elizabeth says, love the reading. I love how political gender. Oh, I think you read this one. I love how politics and politics of gender and immigration intersect in poetry that speaks to the comfort of food. No, actually, we hadn't mentioned this one. And then how did you manage to preserve the poetry while working with intellectual and academic themes? That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, the quick answer is write it from a character point of view. And then already it's artistic and it's not so, academic.
That's actually a nice workshop. You should develop that workshop.
In fact, that leads to the next thing, which is Saturday. I'm teaching a workshop at the West Hollywood Library on writing memorable characters.
See, that's wonderful. I love that. I love that. Can I mention that I'm teaching a workshop today too at Altadena Public Library?
With Carla. Carla is a fellow Pride poet. We've done typewriter poetry together at Pride events. And Carla is the Altadena Poet Laureate, co-poet laureate.
Yes. With Peter Harris, yes. So I'm doing their workshop, the workshop at the Altadena Public Library today at 6 p.m. And it's a workshop honoring Octavia Butler. So you'll do a poem or you'll start a flash fiction story. It'll be nice. It'll be fun.
Yay!
So I just want to say congratulations on Braided Spaces. This is such an achievement and accomplishment. Congratulations on becoming West Hollywood Poet Laureate. It's such an amazing community. I was there at your inauguration, and it was such a rich combination of people, diverse voices, and then also the artistic combinations as well. So you're in a rich group of people, from Stephen to the other poet laureates. It's just, you're in a really rich group of folks. So we're very happy that you're representing WeHo. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for everything.
Oh, and thank you for connecting and sharing this book launch conversation with me. Thank you to everyone who's watching YouTube Live or being on our Zoom, and everyone watching on the replay. You can get the book at jencvoice.com/poetry. And this is it.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Happy Braided Spaces. May you find community spaces that celebrate all of you.
I love that. Go find your spaces, everyone. Take care. Love you guys. Thank you.